Sometimes people ask me, UD, how did you become a communication coach? And honestly, when I look back in my life, it doesn't feel like I chose communication. It feels like communication kept choosing me at different points on the road. And the funny part, some of those moments started very early in my childhood. Hi, guys, welcome back to episode number 11, a solo one, of course, titled The Road to Becoming a Coach. In India, we celebrate Teachers' Day on the birthday of Dr. Radha Krishnan. And I remember something very clearly. I was in the fourth standard, हमारे यहाँ जैसे कहा जाता है. On Teachers' Day, students were allowed to become a teacher for a day. So I got the chance to go to a third grade class and conduct a science period or a class. अच्छे से याद है मुझे. I still remember standing in the front of the board or in front of the classroom, the chalkboard. Yeah, those days used to be chalk and blackboard, man. Good old days. I was drawing a diagram, digestive system, if I remember correctly, explaining the parts, pointing with the chalk, and suddenly realizing something fascinating. A whole class, pura class, was listening to me. Amazing feeling थी यार, वो अच्छे से याद है मुझे. Not because I was loud, not because I forced them, but because I was explaining something in a way that made sense to them. And that day, I experienced something beautiful. The feeling of making people understand something. बहुत मजा आया. Well, I didn't know it then, but maybe that was the first small spark in me. Fast forward to a few years, I joined a call center. And not just any call center, we were servicing a premier American bank. Oh, yeah. Now, this was my first real exposure to the service industry. And suddenly, communication was no longer theory, it was everything. Believe me, I learned things that no textbook ever taught me. Active listening, not interrupting when someone was speaking to me. Oh, yes, need to learn that. Believe me, how your facial expressions can actually affect your tone of voice, even when the customer cannot see you. Amazing, isn't it? How to handle an irate customer without losing your own cool. And one of the most powerful lessons that I learned about people was this: empathy works like magic, dosto. If we choose to use it, of course. Sometimes all a frustrated person wants is to feel heard. And when I was able to solve someone's problem over the phone just through communication, yaar, it felt amazing, incredible. I didn't just like it, I loved it. And slowly I fell deep into the world of communication. Then one day something interesting happened. I was on a call. My operations manager walked up to my desk. He told me, UD, place the customer on hold. I did. He leaned in and said something I will never forget. He said, UD, today is the last day to apply for process trainer through IJP, internal job posting, and I don't want you to miss the bus. And that moment changed the direction of my career. I applied, and that's how I entered the training faculty. I will always be grateful to that operation manager. Um, Great guy, man. Thank you so very much, my friend. Sometimes people see something in you before you see it yourself. Once I entered training, I slowly discovered something fascinating. And that world opened my eyes. मेरी आंखें खोल दी यार. I realized how people interpret language differently depending on their culture, their lifestyle, geography, and their upbringing. How the same word or a sentence can sound different depending on tone, rhythm, and pronunciation, of course. And somewhere along the way, people start telling me things like, hey, Yudi, you explained this so well. Yudi, you should teach this, yaar. That was the unsaid moment, the moment when life quietly said, this might be your path. But life had other road running parallel. Music, rock and roll, heavy metal, yeah, rock music, of course. I began as a roadie for the original Agni AGNI, the pioneers of Vedic rock music in India. That itself was a massive learning experience for me. I watched, I absorbed, I understood what it takes to create energy on stage. Thank you, Agni. Man, my roadie days were the best. That's where I learned the ropes. Eventually, I formed my own band, my first band in early 90s called Ravage, and we even opened for Agni throughout the country. And then something happened that changed my life forever. I became the lead vocalist of Agni. And I had the privilege of singing in the album Mrityunjaya. Songs like Tandav, Man, Kinara, Mrityunjaya. Even today, those songs resonate with musicians and listeners. And standing on those stages, I realized something interesting about myself. I had never experienced stage fright. I actually didn't even understand what the phrase meant. For me, the stage felt like home. Maybe it was God's gift. Maybe it was rock and roll. Maybe both. Who knows? But over time, something became very clear to me. Many people are intelligent. Many people have ideas, ठीक है? But their voices were suppressed somewhere along the way. Childhood, school, society, and that suppression shows up later as stage fright, camera shyness, fear of public speaking. And I realized something powerful. Maybe my role was to help people reclaim their voice because something that was natural for me was extremely difficult for many others. And that's how the journey continued. From call centers to training rooms to stages to coaching, helping people communicate better, not just to speak, but to be heard. When I look back now, I see a beautiful pattern. A fourth grade classroom, a call center headset, a training room, a rock stage, different roads, but all leading at the same place. Helping people trust their voice. And maybe that's what coaching really is. Not teaching people what to say, but helping them realize their voice was always enough. They just needed someone to help them own it. And that has been my road, my dear friends. Thank you for watching. This was The Road to Becoming a Coach at the UD Roadcast. Until the next episode, stay healthy, stay safe, stay hydrated, and always wear safety gear while riding a two-wheeler or a motorcycle. And remember, don't do anything that I wouldn't.